So we are getting into things for the winners round 2. I am playing on the left with Chien Pao, and Connor is on the right with Mew. He got a mulligan, and he can draw for turn here. Has the Forest Seal Stone with his Genesect, and is eyeing up an Ultra Board as well, so a pretty strong start, all things considered. Actually, really strong. The only thing that's a little bit awkward here is that he's holding on to a couple of his power tablets, which may have to be fodder here, just to allow him to draw some more cards. It is reasonable to Forest Seal Stone immediately here for some extra bench Pokemon, to be honest with you. And that's exactly what Connor's going to go for. VIP for the second Mew and the Genesect, so that he doesn't have to start foddering off too many of these power tablets. You can also get his Genesect out of the active position quite comfortably. And is going to see one card. It's a Cram. Does get a Tails, but unlocks a couple more cards and does get into a Nest Ball. So looking like he's going to have one more Genesect draw for this turn, at least, and he's got to be fairly happy with his opening. He's got a V max in hand for next turn. There's not much else he's really looking for on this turn. Possibly a turn attachment of Fusion would be ideal, but can be something that he can look for next turn with a Double Turbo VMAX. I also have a VIP pass start, which is great. We have a Frigibax already in the active, but it probably is going second, going to be a priority to get another one down. And you know the start's good when you see Frigibax and Bidoof come down. Means I have other Pokemon rooting around in the hand. It's going to be a Greninja and a Palkia first. Going to see a turn attachment to the bench Frigi, and then an Iono to get a fresh 6. We're then going to see Greninja for a couple cards. And just a pass over to Connor. Overall, pretty good. Got the Bidoof developed, which is great. You know that Mew is oftentimes trying to hand disrupt. Have double Frigi down, and I'm only representing 1 2-prize Pokemon on the bench. And it's kind of a dispensable one, the Palkia, so looking pretty good. Connor develops the Ice Cube, and is going to get his first concealed cards. Oh, sorry, his first Fusion Strike system in. Debating a very painful Ultra Ball. Is thinking twice about it, and instead is going to vacuum away a Forest Seal Stone first, keep the Ultra Ball in hand. Oh no, it is going to get spent. Okay, so there goes a Path, which is really good news for me as a Chien Pao player, because I'm pretty terrified of Path, honestly. We want Portal and we want Shivery Chill to both be online, so that's great news for us that one Path is already dispatched, because it means we're going to have abilities for the whole game, because Fusion Mew typically only plays 1. Connor's still looking for energy. Doesn't hit the Double Turbo. To unlock his hand, he had to try and dig for Sparkle. Doesn't hit that either, so somehow, even with triple Genesect draws, he just didn't have a way of getting an attack in here. Don't know why he wouldn't retreat this Mew, though, into the other Mew. Definitely should have, right? Just protect your Fusion Energy. Yeah, he's going to do that now, actually. Right. It's over to us then. We have Irida, we have at least an energy and a Chien Pao in hand, so we have a few actions here. It's going to be a concealed cards first. We do then pick up the barrel, which is really nice. And I can Irida now. We're going to get the Palkia V-Star. We have 2 water already in the bin. So that's looking like a reasonable option for the turn. I think I also have Pokestop in the hand as well, which has got to be something I'm debating here. Could be a cross switcher potentially. Looking at a few other things, we do have the Shivery Chill, but there's no guarantee that I can Bax here, right? That's the concern. Looks like we're going to V-Star up. And it is going to be the Pokestop. It's going to get another Cross Switcher and a Water into the bin. Looks like it's just going to be a Star Portal, switching into the Palkia and spreading energy across the board and taking this 2-prize knockout. Looking pretty good, though. Getting that Portal in early for some nice pressure. Have a chunky 2-prizer with a couple energy on now, so difficult for Connor to try and work into a knockout. Connor rips the Pokestop and is going to go for a cram. Gets rid of a VIP. Can go searching into the deck. He's going to grab a power tablet straight out the gate, so pretty obvious what he's looking to do here. Do a second fusion energy come down. We are going to see a bounce of the stadium. It's going to be power tablet number 1. He's got a pretty clogged up hand though. He has Rope, Boss, and a Mew. He's going to play the tablet. Can see a Boss. So he's just going to deal with the guaranteed knockout of the Chien-Pao here. Can see a Nest Ball for another Genesect. Then we're going to see the Mew get into the mix. And it is just going to be a Technoblast with the help of the 1 power tablet. We can conceal cards. We do have an Irida, so we should be able to get a Bat's Caliber involved here. So we're going for a Chien-Pao. And an Ultra Ball. We're going to be Ultra Balling away that VIP and a Palkia. It's going to be a Manaphy getting into the mix. It's going to be a Cross Switcher play onto another Genesect, and Palkia's back. Be a turn attachment onto the Chien-Pao, perhaps? No, it's going onto the Greninja. I think I prefer this a little bit. Yeah, Frigibax is also fine. Because you just know that your opponent's never really going to try and take this guy out, right? They've taken a 2-prize knockout. They're never going to take out a Frigibax on its own. And we're still Baxcaliburless. But we have spread 3 energy on the bench even after this Palkia gets knocked out. So we're still getting pretty close. We're probably just an Irida away from going Candy-Backs into the Dream. And I think I actually remember this. I think I prized both Baxcalibur this game. Now that I think about it. This was a game where, yeah, both Baxcalibur were prized, so I had to go Baxless for this long. I think I was just able to pull one off prizes, though. So if you're thinking, wow, Joe's playing weird, it's because I've been without a Baxcalibur option. That's why you were seeing like Iridas for cross switches rather than like candy pieces for like the obvious let's get zooming. It's going to be an escape rope. I'm going to go into a Frigibax. And then it's going to be Boss onto Chien-Pao again. Meloetta comes down, then we're going to see the second Fusion Strike system. Not much help from that one, I don't think. Just a few supporters of VIP. Yeah, looking pretty gross. Is he debating maybe an Ice Cube play onto the Frigi? That's going to be onto the Big Barrel. Yeah, he has 3 Fusion Energy. And as you can see from the prize cards, I was able to get the Baxcalibur at last. Oh, it was the candies that were actually prized, not the Baxcaliburs. So yeah, the risk of playing double candy. Yeah, so we were finally able to get the backs rolling. And yeah, burst through with the Shivery Chill. So I'm able to carry on into the winner's bracket. And Mew is going to drop down to the losers. Alright, so here we are, getting into winner's bracket game. We have Jack playing Losso and Giratina, and Tamao playing Gardevoir. Jack kicks things off with a Flower Selecting, and can now use Radiant Greninja for a couple cards with concealed cards. Not much else, I don't think. I don't see much other Ball Search in his hand, so might just have to pass things over. Yep. And Tamao has a very good start. Has Greninja, Ralts, and VIP pass from the off, and even got to start off with the Mew. So he's going to be getting things going pretty quickly, which is always nice to see. I think he has supporter and energy in hand, so everything you can really ask for an opening. He's going to have a quick look through to check out some stuff. The list we are playing has double reversal energy, and I think it's actually quite relevant in the Tina matchup having reversals, because one way that the Tina can sort of capitalize on using their multi-prize Pokemon is that the Gardevoir has to heavily damage itself and put it in range quite easily of Sableye to then take its own multi-prize turn back. But if you use reversal energy in the list, you're obviously not damaging your Gardevoir quite as much, and it means you don't have multi-prize turns lined up for the opponent throughout the game, which is good to see. I think Tamal's debating whether or not to research before using concealed cards here. Also has an Iono option, so a few different things to consider here. Is going to slam an energy onto the Mew and then play Iono. Keep the research around for later. And it's always nice, even with like medium hand sizes for Lost Zone players, because they have started to cherry pick pieces. You know their hand is usually pretty reasonable. Tamal does draw into some Psych Energy, so can conceal cards. I do see another Ralts in the hand as well. That's coming straight onto the board. Will be a Mysterious Tail from Mew. Just going to pick up a VIP, likely for next turn for some fodder, for some refinements. But yeah, pretty solid turn one, all things considered. Pretty much everything you're asking for as a Guardy player. Has Ultra Balls in hand for next turn, so has to be pretty happy with that. Jack does have Colress and another Comfey in hand now, so is going to start fueling his Lost Zone a little bit. I think there's Gate in there, there's some Tina pieces and Mirage Gates that he's debating between from this Colress. I imagine his objective is either going to be using an Abyss Seeking here or trying to get a Cram hit early. One of those two things seem like the best thing to go for here. A lot of the time the Giratina doesn't want to be the aggressor in the matchup. Actually using Cram means that you're more susceptible to Iono spam from a Gardevoir player. It's actually far better for you to get to 7 as quickly as possible so that you can unlock your gates, spread energy across your board onto multiple Pokemon so that you don't ever sort of give up your threats. But Jack doesn't have access to attacking with a Giratina, so just going to have 4 cards in the Lost Zone. Not ideal for him, really. Obviously isn't going to put those Pokemon into play too proactively. Too vulnerable for Gust plays. So it's just going to leave things to Tamal, who has double refinement. I'm not sure if he's able to piece together a candy combo here. Or if he's just going to go, yeah, triple Curlier once again. We saw this last time where he was happy enough just giving up the turns and refining away and getting many Psychic in the discard pile. I don't hate this too much, especially if you can get a manual attachment this turn onto a Curlier. It could end up being pretty nice. For now, it's going to be concealed cards. Rare Candy finally coming into the hand. A lot of Ball Search in there. Is eyeing up another Iono as well, possibly as well. It's going to be a Rare Candy discard from the Refinement, then a Mew. It's going to be for a Fog Crystal. And we are seeing a Shuffle here, so may want to be just holding this for a following turn. At the moment, though, he's growing quite a massive hand size. Just having a look to see what's in the bin, but no, just going to pass things over here. Sitting on a big hand, having a lot of things to evolve next turn. Not too shabby. Jack has another Colress. There's a Path in there, which he's valuing quite highly by the looks of things. Obviously a big card in the matchup. Try and throw some hand disruption and Path at the same time. Can give you a doorway into a free turn here and there. It's going to be a pretty painful switch cart and energy into the Lost Zone, and then he's seen the same again from his flower selecting. Can't be too pleased about that. A water is going to go, and he's playing 3 water in the deck, but I believe there's already 1 at the top of his Lost Zone, so he may have shut off his opportunity to use Greninja throughout the entire game now. It's going to be a cart into Comfey. This gets Jack to 8. In the zone, we'll see a Cram come down. Still no use of Giratina. It's going to be a Concealed Cards. Rope really not great here because Greninja's an easy pickup for Tamal. But does Jack have any other switch cards available? Or is he just going to make that play? There's also the option of possibly like proactively benching a Tina here, gating an energy to retreat the Confe. If he really wants to, but he's going to rope. I think it's a pretty routine Greninja choice here. You do play Collapse Stadium, so you can deny this at some point as well. With 2 water in the Lost Zone, it may also be the Manaphy choice here. That could be the other thing going through Tamal's mind. It might just be 1 water, 1 grass, 1 psychic. I can't really tell what the top energy is. Yeah, it is going to be the Manaphy, which makes me think it's 2 water in the Lost Zone. And this is a nice play because you know that you're not getting punished for this Manaphy hitting the discard pile at any point. I would really like to see Jack proactively Tina and Gates because your hand size is way too big and it's too likely that Tamal just denies this from you for the remainder of the game. Like, just Iono's you next turn, even if it is down to 5. You just don't want that to be a problem for you. He's going to take a look for his prize cards now. He's got a lot of grass. Oh, he does still have 2 water energy available. Okay. So it looks like it's 2 psychic and a water in his Lost Zone right now. 2 psychic in the discard pile as well. So that's something for Jack to manage. He has to try and get a rod involved at some point here. He's going to play down a Temple of Sinnoh, which is definitely going to be helpful here because he's trying to block a reversal energy gust play onto his Tina. But not bad. He's done a bit of hedging here with his gates. At least a little bit of deck thinning as well. Going to see the first refinement from Tamal. He does draw into reversal energy and Guardi EX. 2 pretty big pickups. His hand is massive as well right now. He basically has to decide whether a hand disruption is better than a gust play here. I feel like hand disruption is still the priority. Especially if you can bounce this stadium. I think there is a collapse in his hand, actually. We'll see a Fog Crystal for Cress. Cress, definitely a decent Pokemon to get involved. Leave the Cramorant in the active position, play the Iono, take out a Confe, and give Jack kind of like a low hand to work with, and no easy means of getting to 10 in the Lost Zone. So many reasons why the Cress is such a good card in the matchup. Going to be refinement of an Ultra Ball now. Could easily refine away this research. So many cards for Tamal. Feels like a really good opportunity to reverse onto a Confe here. Can Arcana as well. Is going to conceal cards first. Just has an absolutely monstrous hand size. And there's the +2 for free. It's going to be another Gardevoir getting powered up. Hits a Psych Energy as well, which is nice. So the risk of this, obviously you have a ton of chunky Pokemon around the board now, but the risk is that Jack isn't that far away from 10, and if he is able to get to 10 and knock out the EX, it's actually a bit concerning. I also don't really like this energy floating onto the EX. I'd much rather it back onto the Mew. Because you don't want this energy trapped, and it's so much easier if it's on the Mew. Definitely like the Iono play, though, here. Iono, leave the Cram in the active. There's, of course, 20 damage on everything right now, but Tamal's not put it on because he's going to reverse it back onto the Confe here. There's going to be a turn attachment to the Gardevoir as well, and it's getting pushed back to the Confe. Yeah, I really like everything there apart from the floating energy. I prefer on the Mew here than the EX. Let's see how Jack's done from this Iono. Has concealed away a couple cards here, got rid of a Jet Energy. It's of course a blank right now because of the his own Temple. Going to be a couple Psychics going back in. We of course know that he needed those for these gates to be any good. Is Jack eyeing up a Greninja play here possibly? Greninja doesn't look great on this board. The only thing it does is if you can, like, V-Star up, you can try and get out of range. You could even just 90-90 both Gardevoirs, honestly. It becomes a 70-70, probably because of Cress, but it still seems fairly reasonable. It's going to be the Tina getting set up, though. The Cress is just such an annoying Pokemon for the Lost Zone decks. It's very often the case that you kind of just have to take it out and accept you're taking a 1 prize, and it's just not great. I think that's where Jack is at right now. Oh, he's holding on to a boss's orders, so we'll have a slightly higher priority target at least. And he's just going to shred through the Shining Arcana Gardevoir. So I'm now going to go into the Mew. We'll see the concealed cards. It's going to be a Palpad pickup, which is really nice because he's already played a couple Iono early. And this is going to get a little bit scrappy now. Jack down to 4 prize cards remaining. Definitely feels like dealing with this Tina is high value for Tamao. There is reversal energy active as well. It's just whether or not he can play this worker, or if he values the worker highly enough. Maybe an argument to hold the Palpad, play the worker this turn, and then Palpad the worker back. It's going to be a quick tail for the level ball. I think I actually like that best, honestly. Palpadding back the worker here over the Iono. Because you don't need to Iono this turn anyway. So now I'm just taking a look at some stuff here. Has a few opportunities to work something else in. It is going to be that worker, so he does activate his reversal energy this turn. It's the easiest way for him to get a knockout and not fall prey to a Cram response or a Sableye hit. Or at least if it is falling prey to one of those, there's not so much excess damage for Jack to still take a multi-prize turn. There is a Gardevoir knocked out and there is a Rod available, but Tamao is just going to level ball out the 60 hit point rolls. That's coming into the hand. It's going to be benched. Yeah, thinking twice about it. It's a tricky one, especially because it's 60 hit points. It gives Jack the easy... Well, Mew's going to go down to 40 hit points anyway this turn because there's been a turn attachment to reversal energy. It's going to be 2 onto the Gardevoir. That gets Tamao the knockouts on the active. The Mew is having to take damage now as well. And it goes back to me thinking about this planted energy that's stuck on the EX, which is a little bit awkward for him. Now he's definitely debating. He can still put the Ralts down, but isn't going to in this instance. He's just hoping that his EX/Cress plus Zacian could be the last cards for his prize map. Jack does develop the Sableye and is just going to Roxanne respond. Really nice pickup from him. Especially if you can combine this with a path. It could be pretty huge. A lot of Tamao's draw supporters at this stage are just Iono. You're taking out the only like onboard draw apart from Greninja from Tamao. So it seems like a really good timing if Jack can combine this with a path. I think there's one in hand actually. Looks like the Jet is going to hit the discard pile from the conceal cards. I think he just has more Jet energy. I think there's no Psychic, so it might just be a Jet in with the other Comfey here. He obviously still has his Select, so it's not over yet, but... It's going to be nesting out the Giratina. Here comes selecting number 1. It's his second Roxanne. So that's something he probably has to grip onto. It's just what it's up against. It might be up against the path, actually. What's it up against? Is it an energy? Jack having to really think about this one. Seems like a tough call. Depends on where his map takes him. It's going to be a Roxanne going for a water energy. Okay. We do eventually see the Jet for the second Comfey. So Jack's going to be happy enough unless he can gate. Oh, yeah, he actually does hit the gate. So he could still Sableye here if he wants to. Could still do this proactively if he has enough energy rooting around the deck just to get it out of the hand now. But no, it's just going to be a Spit Innocently. Oh, and a Path, yeah. Seems like an important thing to end on. To force more out to Mao, who has a 3-card hand now and Mysterious Tail, and that would be all to do anything this turn. It is going to be the Tail first. Not much help. Rare Candy and Rod. That can get Tamao back into a Psychic Mon, but you're making your top decks aggressively worse now as well. Zacian also seems really important to close out this game. Oh, the hand is just really rough. The Rocks has definitely done its thing. Yeah, I definitely prefer this choice. This seems much better. But he is stuck in the mud based on this this path. The 60 hit point Ralts is going to have to come down from this level ball. Or is he going to change it with the 70? Yeah. He did just rod back in a 70 hit point rolls. Yeah. But there's nothing else he can do apart from turn attach somewhere here. If you attach the Guardi EX, it gives you a way of... Well, you're locking out your own Ultra Ball, but Ultra Ball for anything isn't that good, right? Because the Curly is only good if it can refine. So the Ultra Ball is also a really bad card. I feel like attaching Psychic is pretty reasonable here. It could give you your one prize with Guardi EX, but then, I mean, if your Guardi EX goes down, you're just losing to... Yeah, he's just going to hold everything. You're losing to a V-Star from Giratina there. Let's see what Jack can do to piece things together. He's having a count of his deck. It's going to go for a Colrus, which means the Guardi's okay. Thinking twice about it, though. It's going to be a Colrus. It's going to be Confe and Rope that hit the Lost Zone. He has found a Rod, which I think is an important piece, because we know he has Gate from last turn. Even just Gate for a Sableye player is strong here. It's going to be the Rod for 2 Grass and a Psychic. He seems to be debating whether or not he's going to use this Gate, though. It's going to be a Rope first, not giving any information away. It's now going into the Cresselia. Jack not going to play around with any Confe shenanigans. He's just going to get the Gate in. This allows him to get to Psychic, onto the active and Grass, onto the bench, so he's just a turn attachment away from V-Star power as well. It's going to be the turn attachment of the Water, which isn't ideal for him. I think I actually prefer the turn attachment of Water onto a Confe here, honestly. Because there's no world that the Crest doesn't deal with the Sableye if you just take the Ralts and the Mew out. And I suppose you just always put it on the Greninja anyway. 1 damage doesn't really change anything anywhere else. It can go on... Well, I mean, it's going to get Moonglowed, so you don't... Yeah, this damage is really... Pants, but Jack is just 1 prize card away now. Tamad does top deck a Stadium Bump, so he can Greninja for 2. Can also get this Ralts into the mix. He probably has to, yeah, find like Iono and swing with Guardi EX or something and hope that Jack can't find the V-Star. We see Ultra Ball and Reversal Energy. I think those are some of the crummiest cards he could have found. No help from the Greninja there. It is going to be the Ultra Ball for Zacian, maybe. Yeah. You're losing to an energy if you attack with Cress. You at least forced V-Star if you attack with EX. Is there anything else you can do here? Doesn't look like it. It's just going to be the retreats. And the Miracle Force, I believe. Ton of energy coming on to the Zacian as well at this point. It's just going to be the knockout, and Jack has boss for his Cram final prize. So yeah, a little bit dicey there. It looked like Tamao was in pretty good control, but the Roxanne path did the trick in this occasion. Yeah, pretty rough stuff. Jack moves on with Giratina, and Tamao drops down to the losers bracket.